Chair recognizes Representative Tom Mannion.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of HB229, commonly referred to as the Defend the Guard Act. This bill, very simply, requires Congress to formally declare war pursuant to Article 1, Section 8 of the U.S. Constitution before we will deploy our state National Guard to a foreign combat zone. It does not stop training deployments, natural disaster response, use to repel invasion or quell uprisings. It has been filed in 38 states and is making progress through various legislatures. The fiscal note attached to this bill, a vague puts funding at risk, is the same tired, hollow threat the feds use to bully states into compliance. It's intentionally non-committal because it's nonsense. When filed in Kansas, Defend the Guard was reported accurately as having no fiscal impact. Congressmen Gosser and Massey have spoken in favor of this bill, reminding us that Congress controls the purse strings, and no member would consider defunding a Guard unit. It simply would be political suicide to file an amendment to an appropriations bill defunding a single state Guard, being both a petty act of malice and also making the country weaker. It will not happen. Now, for a bit of history, Congress has not formally declared war since 1942. The War Powers Resolution of 1973 introduced the authorizations for use of military force, which have been the mechanism by which the presidents have executed military operations ever since. This abdication of constitutionally delegated power to the executive branch ultimately led us into forever wars of the last 2 decades. The 2001 AUMF was hastily passed in the wake of 9/11 and was so vastly worded with vague limits on targets, theaters of operation, and no victory conditions that has been the justification for military action in 22 countries. Over the course of the War on Terror, National Guard units made up 45% of the boots on the ground in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria, accounting for 18% of the casualties. Hurricane Katrina's devastation in 2005 was exacerbated by Guard soldiers and equipment that were deployed to Iraq and Kuwait instead of at home protecting their communities. Years later, one of the same missing Louisiana National Guard units, the 256th Infantry Brigade, came under rocket attacks during their deployment to Syria in 2021, where the U.S. is occupying that country's oil fields. The Pentagon will continue to exploit state Guard units to bolster their shrinking ranks in these forever wars until the states say enough is enough. Asking people to vote harder in federal elections, to beg our representatives to repeal the AUMFs has been a failing proposition to stop the uniparty war machine for decades. The most recent vote in the U.S. Senate to repeal the 2001 AUMF garnered 10 votes. This is in our hands right now to protect the lives of the servicemen and women in our state and to ensure our Guard remains always ready, always there. I ask you to stand with them, defend the Guard, and press the green button to OTP or HB229. And, Mr. Speaker, I ask for a roll call vote.
The House will be in order. Does a member yield to questions?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Representatives, for taking my question. Last March 29th, we delivered a House proclamation to a National Guardsman here, and he was from Wyndham, and he won Soldier of the Year. He's now stationed over in Kuwait, and would you believe, I was talking to him a week and a half or so ago, and they're all him and his fellow soldiers are very aware of what we're doing here right now, and they have asked for our support.
I do believe that. There's resounding support amongst post-9/11 veterans. There is a disconnect with the SVAC committee that I'm looking to rectify next year with legislation. Thank you.